G'day there, you're watching the Aussie BIM Guru. Today I'm excited to announce that there's a new content pack on my online store, so I do a quick demonstration to show you what's contained in it if you're interested. So I'm announcing that I'm releasing my Windows pack. So I put a little bit of time into this one because I actually got quite a few requests for this after I released my Doors pack. I wasn't going to release this so early, but I put a few extra weeks of work into it to bring it out much earlier. So this is my work, not my play, so it's not Aussie BIM Guru related content, but I'm just promoting it here for those that are interested. So the Windows. So the purpose of this video is I'm just going to explain to you how you can purchase the content. Just quickly demonstrate it to you so you can see what is contained in it and sort of how the families work, and also just some future products. Note that you don't have to buy this, don't feel pressured to do it just to support me. This is really just if it helps you, then feel free to purchase. The pricing is going to be $75 for the pack, but at the moment for 1 week I'm just putting it down to $50, and then I'll raise it back up after. I don't typically discount my content unless it's the template or the support files, so yeah, just this discount. I'm going to be sharing this just because I want to improve the industry. I want good content to be available at an affordable price. That way we're not locked behind silos and paywalls, essentially. So you can purchase it by going to my store at this URL. If you click on the store, and then you'll just find there's a little product with a little red stamp on it for a week. And then you can read some information about the product. There's a few preview images so you can have a look at it. But in this pack, you get a sample Revit file, which we'll look at. You also get 19 window families with about 60 types amongst them, and also some sub-panel families, which I'll show you, which are essentially how you can swap all the sub-panel types in the windows, say like awning or casement swings, for example. And you also get 2 glazed door families, which aren't contained in my standard door pack. In this case, a sliding and a folding glazed door. You also get some image map files just to support the materials in the model, and just a copy of the terms of use of the content. And there's also a lot of things available on my store separately that have been selling really well, so feel free to have a look at those as well. And there's more coming in future, so there's going to be a lot more advanced content coming down the line that I think will really help people working on very particular scenarios, such as toilet cubicles and workstations, accessible toilets, residential rooms, etc. But let's just do a quick demonstration of the content so you can see what you get. So I'm just going to open up the sample file that comes with the Windows. If I just jump into a preview view, so I'll just go down to the content section of my browser. I'll just open up what I call the fly around view, which is where you can just fly around the model essentially. So this is what you get, at least in the model. Obviously these families are all provided in a library structure as well. So most of it's going to be in the Windows folder. And you can see here you get those 19 families, and it's a pretty wide range of types. You get, I think it's 5 bay windows, and I break all my windows into divisions of how many panels they contain. So in this case, I call one range the 1x1. So you can see that you get a standard panel, an arch, a round, and then what I call the sub-panel arrangement, which is where you have glazing bars. But then you go up to a 1x2, 1x2 arch, 1x3, 2x1, 3x1, 3x2. And then also just a 3x2 with a center panel. Some other interesting windows that are contained here are some corner windows, which I'll show you, and also just a skylight as well that can be hosted to roofs. So there's a pretty wide range of windows contained in this pack. There's also a whole bunch of what I call sub-panels. These are basically interchangeable panels that I'll show you, which can be swapped out on a type basis, and they contain different types of sub-swing arrangements like sliding, hung windows, louvers in the horizontal and the vertical direction, and also with glazing bar options as well. So let's just have a look at actually what's in the file. So you can see that I've sort of laid them out in rows. I sort of start with the 1x1s and I go up from there, but you can see there's a pretty wide range of types. Some of them you can't really see the difference in them because it's a swing type. Other ones you can see the swing actually impacts the detail of the family. So if you have a hung window, obviously your sub-panel breaks into 2. Notice that I'm also having sills in these as well, so I will show you the sills probably now actually. So let's just go over here. So each standard window has the ability to have its sill swapped. So you can see here I've got a brick sill, I've got a stone sill, and a metal sill. Let's just have a look at this one here. So if I select this window family, I can firstly see there's a lot of types available. Now I haven't given them specific subcodes, I've just given them an XX number and just a standard size. I'd rather that you build the sizes that suit your region or your needs. So feel free to add and expand to the size catalogs in here by building new types. But on an instance basis, you can actually just swap the sill using this label parameter, as I call it. So if you drop this down, you do get like every single window in the project essentially. But if you do a search, in this case for something like metal, you can see that you get metal sills. Now you will have type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is a straight sill and type 2 is a corner sill. But if I click the metal sill, I can see that I can swap the sill over to a metal sill. So it's really quick and easy to swap these around essentially, and I can go and get the stone sill. I can just swap that to a stone sill, and I can also just set back my sill. I can say it's only a 60 mil setback now, so I can change the sill recess, and you can see it's really easy. I can also project my sill further, so I can push it out 50 mil. I can say there's no projection, so it's really easy to control the geometry and the shape of that sill. And the brick, the metal, and the stone sills all respond to those parameters the same way. I can also add reveals to the back as well, so I can actually just go and turn off my sill if I want to. I can go and turn off my reveal, but I can also turn on my reveal. And I can also just go and change the depth of my reveal. Say I want to make it something deeper, like 150. And you can see my sill and reveal are getting deeper now into my window. So you have full control over the depth of that condition, because usually your frames are fixed size and then your reveal and your sill sort of make up the overall depth of the system. This way you can host it outside to a brick wall, and maybe you can join the stud wall behind it and then just push your reveal back through the stud wall. So I find that's really important when you need that control over a window. Let's just have a look at some of the other windows. Obviously you can see they all have sills, but we also have some with glazing bars. So I have separated these into separate families, because if you put all the glazing bar sub-panel types in one family with the standard windows, they get quite big. So at the moment, most of the families are between 1 and 3 megabytes each. So it is important that I had to separate these so that if you want to use glazing bars, you actually choose this specific family. But all the families have a type parameter that you can use to swap out the panel type. So if I just go to this panel type 1, which means row 1, column 1, I can actually just go and replace it with different panels. So in this case, you can see I've got a glazed 2x3 sub-panel arrangement. Instead, maybe I just go to like I'll just go to a double hung window with a 2x4 arrangement. Okay, and you can see I've just swapped out the sub-panel to a 2x4 glazing bar arrangement with a double hung system. So it's really quick and easy as long as you know what the panel is you're looking for. Let's say I want to turn this into a louver window. Well, obviously, I should probably make a new type, but let's say I'm just going to do it here. I can just do a search for louvered, and in this case, I can just go and find my panel, and maybe in this case, just trying to think what sub panel I want to pick in this case. I think in this case I don't have louvers in the yeah, that's right. I don't have louvers in the glazing bar families, because obviously louvers and glazing bars aren't really compatible. If I go back here, for example, into one that does have the louvers because it doesn't use glazing bars, I should be able to find it here instead. Yeah, there we go. So now I can just swap it out to a louvered panel, and you can see that it just parametrically updates to support that panel. Obviously these are just 1x1 windows, so we can go up to more complex windows. So we can go, in this case these are sliding windows, so they're still at 1x1, and these are double casement windows, so they're still a 1x1 as well. I will go into elevation soon. You can see I've built some that support a fixed panel and an adjustable panel below, so this is the 1x2 family. We've got the 1x3 where you have separate panels, so in this case you can actually change the panels individually. So I've made multiple parameters, so row 1, column 1, column 1, row 2. So you can change these independently of each other. So I could go and turn this into, say, like a louvered panel if I wanted to in the middle. And I can see now I can change all the panels on a 1x1 basis. So super simple and super easy to control. I've got 1x2s here, so you can see now I've got multiple panels. If I keep going, I've got 1x3, so it gives you the option to change these. So you can end up with some pretty interesting arrangements of windows. And then we get to in this case, the 2x3. And you've still got the sills and the reveals, it's all still relevant. And then you've got one where the middle panel is a single panel, because sometimes this arrangement is quite common in residential, high-end residential. And then eventually you get to bay windows. So I've made 5 families for bay windows at this point. 2 of them are just a box bay window with adjustable dimensions in depth and width, and currently they're just 2 panels on the front, 1 on the side. And in this case I've built one with the sub-bar arrangements as well, if you so want. As well as this, I've built one that can essentially support any size. In this case, I can't use nested panels in any angle because of the way that nested panels can be constrained to reference lines. But this one at the very least should be adjustable. So if I make this say 900 for the panel in the middle and 450 for the panels on the side, you can see I can really easily adjust that size. Let's say I want to make it 60 degrees instead of 45, and you can see that it's parametrically adjustable, but it still maintains those sizes for the panels. Whereas in this case, I've had to lock these ones down to 45 degrees just to keep these panels constrained, but you can still change the dimensions. So in this case, I can say that my center panel is 900, my side panels are 450, and you can see that that updates. So in this case, it still does support that behavior, but on a fixed basis. So in this case, I've locked it to 45 degrees. So if you wanted like a 60 degree nested panel family, you would need to build one and manually adjust those angles and then start parametrically adjusting it instead as a new family type. But I have set the framework for how you can do this. And obviously, again, I can just go and replace panels if I want to. I can put a louvered panel in the middle. So you can see they're really easy and flexible to work with. I'll go into elevations soon. I do have in this case, a skylight that you can place. So it's really important that when you place this particular family, you place on face. And at the moment it doesn't cut, but if you go to cut and you cut the roof with the family, you can see that then it cuts the family. And then you can just tell it how far through the roof you want to push the reveal zone. So in this case, I can say I want to make it say 900 and push it all the way through. So you can see it's a really easy family to place, and I can obviously adjust it very, very easily as well. I can change its height to say 900. So it's a pretty flexible, simple family to work with. A really important one to show you is corner windows, because I guess this is something that a lot of people have trouble with. It's a pretty complex family to set up. So I'll just delete this one and we'll just place a new one. So in this case, I'm just going to go create similar. And the way that you place the corner window is that we have to place it first in one wall. We have to get it into the right arrangement. I might just go into plan. In this case, I'm just going to jump into the content view. And it's good that I'm showing you this because I've actually laid out all the windows and dimensioned them, tagged them, explained them very briefly, just to show you the full range as well. So this is sort of like the shopping center view, which might help you navigate the file. But let's go find that corner window. So currently it's not cutting the wall. So it's the same as the skylight. You need to move it into position. And then you can be in 3D or floor plan. It doesn't really matter. But if you just go to cut and you say cut this wall with this window, cut this wall with this window, and Bob's your uncle, it's done. And again, I've built a corner sill as well, so you can just swap out, say, a metal sill. So I can just go metal sill type 2 for the corner sill. And I've got a metal sill. You may need to paint sometimes the inside of the other wall because the cut wall doesn't adopt the material of the window host, which is how window hosts at least behave. But you could just use the paint tool if you really needed to see brick exposed on that edge. And I've also built one with a corner mullion and one which is just open fixed glazing. So in this case, I can go and replace these with, say, like a louvered panel or a double hung panel. Maybe I'll do a double hung and I'll do a hopper swing. And you see it's really easy to swap those out to different subpanels. So yeah, pretty straightforward. And I'll show you in the family how that works in a second too. I've also included just a double glazed sliding door that has similar controls. There we go, we got a sale. So you can obviously open the door first of all. See, I think in this case I haven't nested the open, but you could nest this into the door. I just didn't want to make the family too muddy, because I know that opening sometimes slows down families a bit, but you could nest that into the door in the family. You can also push in your frame by a set amount. So I can say my frame is say 100 mil and I only set back 50 mil. So you have full control over that setback condition again, just like your windows. But they report as a door, obviously. And then I also have some folding doors as well. So let's just go into section and start having a look at some of these as well, just to see what they look like in section, because it's important in elevation or section that they actually show right. I mean, in plan they're pretty clean. You see your sill, you see your reveal, and you see your panels. When you have swing panels in plan, they swing out. And also when you have sliding panels, you get a little slide symbol. So they're nice and friendly. If I just go into elevation, you can see that you get some nice little graphics. You get swing angles, and there is the option to reverse the swings. So if you're in another country and the swing direction is different, you can just swap them around. And obviously you can go in the families and make this a type parameter as well if you just want to lock it down to always be like the European swing direction. But at the moment I'm putting it in the direction that we use in Australia most commonly, which is that you basically hinge from this corner, whereas I know in other countries it's the opposite. And I think that's probably the right way, but technically Australia just does it the wrong way. We've also got some single and double hung windows with sliding arrows, and also sliding panels in either direction, and double casement swing windows. So you can see that it works pretty well. Everything looks pretty clean. If I go and just check out my doors, you can see that they have all their swing line representations as well, and their swing arrows. So I'll just quickly jump into one of the families and show you how I've sort of set up the I guess the basic components. So if I just go to Edit Family on my 1x1 family, if I select this family, it's actually a nested family, and it has what's called a label or a family type parameter associated to it. So this is the parameter that you change the type with. And then inside the family, there's all these nested component families that aren't shared, so they just exist in the family itself. But they all have the same instance parameters to them. So as they swap between each other, they don't lose that relationship to the overall family type parameters. So this allows these panels to be cleanly swapped between each other as you need on a type basis. So you can see here, this is a type parameter where you set the panel type, and as you change type, obviously this type changes. The sill, again, is the same thing, but in this case, the sill is a instance parameter, so you can change it to whatever you want, but ideally you're really only meant to change it to one of the sill families. So I can see in this case, I've taken my sill and I've associated this as well. Now the sills are pretty special, the way I've built them. So they're actually faced-based families that cut their host with a void. So this is how they cut the wall in the particular way they need to. And this is also how you can control the void on and off, because the void belongs to the family. So if this turns off, the void is also off as well. So you'll find that quite useful. And also the reveals, they're nested as well. So it's a fairly simple system that's easy to create new families from, or new types from, whatever suits you best. Ideally, I'd say new types if possible, but new families if you need. And obviously, if you jump up to say like a 2x3 family, it's pretty much the same setup, but just with more types and more constraints. So I've just made the frame a single extrusion in the elevation direction, and then I've just basically associated different label parameters to each panel in the window. So it's nice and simple. And I've always tried to name these in a consistent manner as well. So it's always the column and then the row. So you can always tell which panel you're swapping out based on the configuration of the windows that you're dealing with. And then otherwise, it's really just the same types of parameters that I've been using in my shared parameter file. There are some new ones in this that the shared parameter file doesn't contain. So if you find one of these and you want to put it into your shared parameter file, just go to Modify. And if it's not in your file, just go Export, and it will put it into a folder called Exported Parameters. And you can just move it to any folder that you wish. But most of these belong to the window folders typically. I may release like a version 2 of the shared parameter file after all these content packs are out, just to pick up all those extra shared parameters that I've been introducing as I go. But yeah, it should be fully compatible with the template regardless. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And I guess it's a pretty nice little pack. I had a lot of fun putting it together, and I'd like to thank the people that actually requested it. It was a really good idea to probably fast track this one, given I'd just done doors as well. And I hope this helps people, especially on residential projects where I know you end up with a lot of different swing types that you need to deal with and a lot of configurations. So thanks for those that stuck around. The presentation will be going up onto GitHub. I know I'm a little bit behind on my presentations. I'm about to go and upload all the ones I've missed in the last few weeks. But yeah, thanks for watching. And if you're thinking about purchasing this, but you're not quite sure, feel free to reach out. And just any queries that you have, I'll do my best to assess them. But the content's going really well. Everyone's really happy with it so far, and there's a lot of sales being made, so it's good for me too. It's good to support what I do. If you're not already following and subscribing to my channel, feel free to do so. Obviously, not many of my videos are like this. Most of them are tutorials, and I try to produce about 2 videos a week. I've got some exciting news coming up in probably about a week or two. That some of you probably already know about, that relates to probably more so Aussie BIM Guru, and also just some of my future plans. So I look forward to announcing that. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.